Yo, listen up, cause this ain't your regular news report. This is the type of story that makes the block stop breathing. King Von didn't just go out in a blaze on the street. Nah, the real smoke started in that hospital room. They said he survived 2 surgeries. They said he jumped up out the bed, swung on the nurses, asked for his gun like he was ready for round 2. What? Who does that? Only Von Dot, but here's where it gets grimy. The paperwork don't line up. The stories don't match, and the footage? Oh, the footage is shaking the internet right now. Family saying one thing, the label saying another, and the fans? They're calling cap on everybody. So what really happened? Was Von taken out by his ops, by the cops, or by somebody even closer? Think about it. Bulletproof trucks swapped out, drivers switched, and somehow Kwando's crew just magically knew where to be. Coincidence? Please. This ain't just another street tragedy. This is betrayal, cover-ups, and a mystery straight out a Netflix series. And tonight, we're pulling the curtain back on King Von's hospital last moments. Buckle up? Alright, so let's rewind this whole messy movie back to the beginning, because you can't understand Von's hospital drama without knowing how deep the scandal runs. See, when we talk about King Von, we ain't just talking about another rapper from Chicago. We're talking about a dude who came straight out of block with a pen like a pistol, storytelling like Netflix, and an energy that made both fans and ops nervous. But here's the thing, success don't erase street beef. If anything, it magnifies it. And that night, November 6, 2020, Von wasn't just celebrating his album release. He was walking straight into a trap. Yeah, I said it, a trap. Now, officially. The story goes like this. Von leaves the club, sees Quando Rondo in the parking lot, and boom, he swings first. Hands flying, fists cracking, Quando on the ground like he just got sucker punched in an anime fight. And out of nowhere, Lil Tim pops out the car with a Glock. Spraying like it's Call of Duty, Von drops, chaos erupts, cops on the scene start. Busting shots too, that's the official story. But the streets? Oh, they ain't buying that fairy tale. Because way too much don't add up. For starters, Von always rolled in a bulletproof truck. Always. That was like rule number 1 in his playbook. But guess what? That night, mysteriously, the bulletproof whip was swapped out for a regular truck. Who made that call? Nobody's talking. And let's be real, ain't no way that's an accident. And it don't stop there. Von's usual driver replaced his normal security. Cut down, it's like somebody wanted him naked out there, exposed. And who just happens to know Quando Rondo's crew is in that exact parking lot at that exact time? Some random dude who whispers in Von's ear, and the next thing you know, Von's flying out the car ready to swing. Like, how convenient is that? But here's the plot twist nobody's ready for. What if the real danger wasn't even outside the club? What if the hospital, the one place that's supposed to save your life, was where the game really flipped? Because, according to Von's cousin B.O., the man actually survived 2 surgeries. Yup, survived. Doctors stitched him up, patched him, and the word was he was gonna make it. But then, out of nowhere, the story changes. Suddenly, Von is dead, and the explanation? Apparently, he jumped up off the bed, started fighting with nurses, and demanded his gun. Like, bro, imagine waking up from surgery saying, "Where's my strap?" That sounds like a scene from a 50 Cent biopic. Not real life, but here's the kicker. The person spreading that story, Von's sister, Calebie, wasn't even at the hospital. She wasn't in the room. She wasn't on the floor. So where'd she get that info? And why tell it like it's gospel truth? And just when you think it can't get sketchier, boom, new footage, new claims, and suddenly the internet's eating this story alive like it's the latest Netflix true crime. Duka. Because here's the thing, everyone's got a version of what happened, but none of them actually line up. Von's manager, Track 100, swears up and down that Von was in a bulletproof truck, that everything was handled by the book, but Von's own cousin is like, nah, the truck was swapped for a regular ride that night. Which one is it? Somebody's lying or somebody's covering, and that alone makes this whole thing smell fishy. Then you've got Asian Doll, Von's ex, jumping online saying, Lil Tim didn't even kill Von, the cops did. Like, excuse me? That's a whole new grenade thrown into the mix. And when fans pressed her for proof, she doubled down, saying she heard it from the streets and that the charges against Tim didn't stick because the bullets weren't his. You can't make this up. Meanwhile, Lil Tim's over here in interviews playing it cool, saying he was just protecting his brother, saying he regrets the situation, but hey, it's in the past. Real calm, real collected, like a man who knows something the rest of us don't, and then comes the cherry on top. Prosecutors just quietly drop all charges against Tim, just like that. Poof. Gone. They say it's self-defense. Stand your ground, case closed, but hold up. This is Georgia, where murder charges usually stick like glue. You don't just walk away from a high-profile rapper's killing unless there's some serious behind-the-scenes maneuvering. So who pulled those strings? And don't even get me started on the hospital story again. Because if Vaughn really survived those surgeries like B.O. claimed, then what really killed him? A medical mishap? A sudden complication? Or, and hear me out, a deliberate mistake to make sure he didn't walk out of there alive? Think about it. A rapper tied up in a federal case alongside Lil Durk, the label's golden boy. Vaughn survives, both of them go down together. Vaughn dies, and suddenly Durk's charges vanish. Funny how that works, right? And let's not forget the weird timing of 21 Savage buying Kayla B a Range Rover right after Vaughn's death. Fans scratch their heads like, huh? And then 21 himself admits he was with Durk the exact night Vaughn was killed, hearing the news in real time. But wait, Durk was supposedly live on Instagram at that same moment. Alibis on alibis, like everybody's trying to prove they were somewhere else while the chaos unfolded. By this point, the fans aren't just sad about losing Vaughn, they're furious. Twitter threads, Reddit posts, YouTube breakdowns. Everybody's out here connecting dots like they're solving a murder mystery, and maybe they are. Because the more you dig, the more this feels less like a random street fight, and more like a chessboard where Vaughn was the pawn sacrificed so someone else could win. But if that's true, then the next question's obvious. Who set the board? So the million-dollar question, who set the board? Who benefited from Vaughn's death? And who had the power to make all these puzzle pieces fall exactly where they needed to? Because let's be real, the streets don't just believe in coincidences, especially not when money, fame, and legal heat are all in play. Some fans point fingers straight at the industry itself. They say Vaughn was too real for the rap game, too unpredictable, too dangerous for the suits in the office. He wasn't playing the label politics, he wasn't toning down his lyrics, and he definitely wasn't shutting up about street business. That makes him a liability. And when someone's a liability in an industry worth billions, well, accidents tend to happen. Others say, nah, this wasn't corporate, this was personal. Look at Quando Rondo. After the shooting, he tried to play victim, crying about how he couldn't book shows, how fans turned on him. But then suddenly, just a year later, he's got features, he's back on the road, and he's looking untouched. Like, how do you go from being the most hated man in hip-hop to casually performing again? Almost like someone somewhere gave him a pass. And then there's Lil Durk. Fans don't even whisper it anymore. They scream it. Vaughn's death cleared Durk's legal slate. The attempted murder case they were both facing vanished, like it never existed. And instead of sitting in a courtroom, Durk drops new music, climbs charts, and levels up his career. Now, I'm not saying Durk planned anything, but the timing? Let's just say it's suspicious enough to make conspiracy theories multiply like rabbits. Meanwhile, the hospital angle refuses to die down. Anonymous nurses supposedly leaked that Vaughn was conscious after surgery, that he was even talking. One source claimed he kept asking, "Where's my guys? Where's my gun?" And then hours later, he's gone. The explanation given, complications. But complications after survival? Or complications after interference? That's the million-dollar mystery. Fans dissected the leaked last photo of Vaughn on the hospital bed, saying the IV lines were wrong. The bandages looked staged. Even the body itself didn't look like him. That sent the internet spiraling into wild theories. Was the image fake? Was it a double? Was Vaughn even really dead? Some went full Tupac in Cuba mode, claiming Vaughn was hidden away to dodge indictments. Crazy? Maybe, but this case is So messy that even the wildest ideas get airtime. And here's where the fallout really hits. Every time new info drops, the fans split into war camps. Team, it was the ops. Team, it was the cops. Team, it was the label. And team, Vaughn faked his death. Each side louder, angrier, more convinced they're the only ones with the truth. Meanwhile, the official story stays clean and simple. He got shot. He died, end of case, but we all know it's not that simple. Too many strings were pulled, too many questions left unanswered. And until somebody breaks silence, until some real evidence leaks, we're stuck asking the same thing. Was King Von just another casualty of street beef? Or the victim of one of the coldest setups hip-hop has ever seen? So what do you think really happened in King Von's hospital last moments? Was this just another street tragedy, or was it a setup carefully crafted from the inside out? Drop your theories in the comments, because trust me, the truth won't come from the headlines. It comes from us connecting the dots. And if you want more raw breakdowns, more unfiltered exposes, hit that like button, smash subscribe, and turn on the bell, because this story ain't over. And the next bombshell? Yeah, you don't want to miss it.